So with the 2022-2023 season just a week away, it is time for our beloved standings predictions. Okay, so standings predictions, I did this for the first time last year. I only did 3 of them. Apparently, either I did 3 of them or my Pacific Division video just got wiped off the planet. I have no idea where my Pacific Division predictions even are. I have exactly no clue whatsoever. Today we're doing the Central Division. So the Central Division is obviously pretty competitive. The only 2 lock picks that honestly is kind of agreed with everyone is like 8th and 7th. Really, those are the only 2 picks that are kind of agreeable for the 2 teams that are going to be bad. Or most of that I've seen. I mean, there's people out there who have differing opinions, but usually 8th and 7th are the 2 that are kind of a lock and kind of everybody agrees with, just maybe in a different order. Anyways, moving on to 8th in the Central Division, we have the Chicago Blackhawks. I had them finishing 5th, and as a result, they finished at 7th. The only reason I had them at 5th, though, was because other people thought they were going to finish at 5th. That was the sole reason why. Mainly because I saw the acquisitions they made. I was like, all right, there's some solid ones there. I didn't think it was worth making those acquisitions, mainly because of this team was kind of weak and they were already on the downhill stumble and downhill slide. I don't know what I'm saying. Downhill stumble, and they just were falling off. And they tried making an acquisition to get the team better, and they not only, oh my god, I could just go on for forever. They not only made acquisitions, they did them wrong too. They signed Seth Jones to that ridiculous contract. Jones is a solid defenseman, but you do not sign Jones for that much money for that many years. That is just astronomically bad for Chicago, in my opinion. And really, it showed it. They absolutely fell off a cliff, and they finished 7th, and things aren't looking so good for them right now. Really. So yeah, I have them 8th. There could be a lot of things we see happen this coming season. Patrick Kane could get traded. Jonathan Toews could get traded. We could see even more happen there. But yeah, overall, really, this is probably going to be the last year or pretty much the end of an era for Chicago. Once Kane and Toews are out of there, it's the end of an era, and it is unfortunate, and that's been quite a run for the past couple of years. But who knows? Maybe the both of them stay. Maybe not. We'll see. All right, number 7. This is another lock pick. Arizona. I had them finishing 8th last year, and as a result, they finished 8th. So I did. That was the only one I think I got right in this division. I'm looking at my. Oh, wait, no. One of two that I got right in this division. Forgot the first place. But yeah, overall, Arizona, they're not going to be outstandingly better. They're not going to be significantly better, but they'll be a little bit better than Chicago. They'll be a little bit better than what they played last season. This team is developing. They're developing their young players. Clayton Keller is really solid. Once they trade Chychrun is when I think maybe things could fall off a cliff. I've heard rumors that maybe a Chychrun trade happens before the NHL season starts. I doubt that now. We have not heard anything. And the asking price for him is Shane Pinto if we're talking Ottawa. And Ottawa doesn't want to do that. So really, I think the asking price right now for Chychrun is just too high for anybody to go out and make a move for him. That's just my opinion right now. But yeah, overall, Arizona likely going to finish 8th. They didn't make that too many acquisitions. They got Jonas Johansson, Patrick Nemeth, Troy Stetcher, just name a couple, Josh Brown. They got some guys, but they're not any big name players, really. Really, this team is still kind of trying to focus on the future. Now is when things start getting a little bit controversial. This is when people start to bump heads on where they place teams. At 6, I have Winnipeg. I had them at 2nd last season, and they finished 6th. And I think a lot of people had them around 2nd, and yeah, they just plummeted. They surprised a lot of people. Paul Maurice resigned. There was just a lot of things there in Winnipeg, and really it was kind of just a disaster, and they couldn't get it together. Now, though, I think this could be the make-or-break season for the Winnipeg Jets, 100%. You look at that team. They have an alright top 6. Their top 6 is probably their best attribute. They have solid goaltending in Connor Hellebuck, but really, everywhere else, I am not so high on. So I don't think they're going to really do much better than they did last year. And this could be the year where they decide, you know what, at this point, why don't we just blow it up? And I really wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I honestly wouldn't. And I could honestly see it happening realistically. And it could be a smart idea, too, because Scheifele and Wheeler are nearing the end of their contracts. You trade both of them away. You could get so much for even one of them. So I think it would be an unbelievable deal for Winnipeg 100%. But yeah, I have them finishing 6th. Just not overall a good season. Now at number 5, people are not going to like me for this one. I have the Minnesota Wild at 5th. Yeah, I have the Minnesota Wild at 5th place in that division and missing the playoffs. Now here's why. Okay, so first off, I had them finishing 4th last season, and they finished 2nd, so obviously they proved me wrong there. But I'm going to say it again. The only reason why this team is so good is because of Kirill Kaprizov. If you watched my Minnesota Wild season preview, you would know what I said. I said that the Wild are at best a 500 team without Kirill Kaprizov on that roster. You take him off, that roster isn't so good, and I'm being entirely honest. Overall, like losing Kevin Fiala, I just don't rely on this roster all too much. They have a solid defense, and I like their team overall, but I really don't think it's reliable to make the playoffs, especially in such a competitive division when teams around them definitely improved a lot more. And I definitely think that, Minnesota could be one of those teams that definitely proves me wrong. I've had bold takes before. We'll get into St. Louis. St. Louis is somebody I've had a bold take with before. But yeah, overall, I just think the Wild finished 5th. I'm just not so high on them really this season. Number 4, I have the Nashville Predators. I had the Predators finishing 6th last season, and they finished in 5th. So they did a little bit better than I thought. They make the playoffs, so that's good. It was really kind of a wasted 10 days, though, because they got destroyed. But yeah, I mean, overall, this team, I think, made better acquisitions this past season. They re-signed Forsberg, brought in Niederreiter, got some depth. I really like this team as a whole now. I think this team's a lot better. And really, when you look at it, and people don't realize it, a lot of their players last year had bounce-back seasons. Duchesne had a solid bounce-back season. Johansson looked all right. He was a little bit iffy, though, at times. But yeah, really, some of their players had some bounce-back years for those bad contracts. And I said this last year. I said the Predators were just going to blow it up last year, and they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't, because now they're a really entertaining team to watch. And I've said it for the past 2 years probably that they were going to blow it up, and they haven't. So that is something crazy there. But obviously, I have Nashville at 4th. Here's where we get into the placement orders. And by the way, I have Nashville making the playoffs. They're making the playoffs for the wild card spot. Here are the place orders. At 3rd, I have the St. Louis Blues. The Blues, I had them at 7th. Yeah, I had them at 7th last season. I was not high on this team at all. And they reluctantly proved me wrong and finished 3rd. That was not a good prediction at all. By far, it's got to be the worst one I've ever made on the channel. I've been watching old videos lately, looking at old stuff from last season to kind of refresh my mind a little bit on what I was thinking last season. That was probably the worst take, not only for last season, but in the entire history of the channel. Really, it just did not do good. It did not at all. So St. Louis, obviously, they have a good team. Ryan O'Reilly. Really, though, I think they lost a lot of acquisitions, and I definitely am going to say that. You could argue maybe you could put Nashville over St. Louis, but I can't see St. Louis not finishing top 3. I just can't. And no matter how hard I try and think, I just can't see them finishing below top 3. They're just a great team overall. They have experience. This team won a cup, and it's still relatively the same team. There's a couple of guys that have left. There's a couple of new guys that have come in. But relatively, it's the same team, really. And I think that overall, this team is a good team. They lost some acquisitions, definitely. David Perron hurts. Ville Husso hurts. But I still think this team will be solid. Nonetheless, I think they'll be 3rd. They won't be amazing like they were last season, but they will still be 3rd. I think they'll be solid. Now, at number 2 is when things get interesting. I have the Dallas Stars. Yeah, I have Dallas, and people are not going to like this. No, especially, and people probably realize this when I put Minnesota at 5th. They're like, oh my God, this guy's putting Dallas in the top 3. Yeah, I put Dallas at 2nd, and this could be a bold take. Last year, I had Dallas at 3rd, and they fell to 4th. So, obviously, I was high on Dallas last year, but I'm even higher on them this year. I love this team as a whole. The only thing is, though, if they can sign Robertson, this second placement in that division will come true. If they don't sign Robertson, no. No. They probably won't even finish top 3. I'm being honest. I don't see it. But I think that if they sign Robertson and this team improves as a whole, I think they can do well. I like their top 6. I like their bottom 6. I like the young guys coming up. Logan Stankoven, Maverick Bourque. This team looks really good down below, and they got some offensive firepower coming up that they will be good for the next few years. 100% when those guys like Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, they hang up the skates. They'll be good for the next couple of years. The only problem that I've seen, though, is the defense. And that's the one thing that everybody's talking about. When I told some of the people close to me about my predictions, they're like, you really think that's going to happen with Dallas's defense? And obviously, if you listen to the Nordcast, you would know that I put these division predictions out there already. You would know what I'm talking about. You probably like, why are you watching this video? But yeah, I mean, obviously, Dallas at second is definitely bold. But I think overall in that defense, I think I'm depending on Nils Lundqvist to really improve that right D side. Since John Klingberg left, it looks relatively weak. Colin Miller, your first pairing defenseman, that is not going to work out. But yeah, if Lundqvist, and he's looked well in the preseason, if he can play well all the way through and get some games in and play good for the Dallas Stars, he could very well hold up that right D side, and then this division prediction could actually look really great for me. I think overall this team could surprise people. They're underrated as a whole, and I really like them just as a team all around. So number one, you can kind of do process of elimination here. I have Colorado. I think every team is Colorado. They were the only other team in this division that I was correct on their prediction. I had them finishing first, and well, they finished first. So obviously they're one of those teams that is interesting. But yeah, really, I mean, Colorado finishing first, not a surprise. They're still a great team. They lost some acquisitions, but they're still a great team as a whole. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Gabriel Landeskog, shall I go on? Mikko Rantanen, Devon Toews. Just a great team as a whole. And really, the only thing that I could see maybe they don't finish first is if the goaltending just doesn't work out. And I have been a little bit lenient on Alexander Georgiev in the past. I think he can still be a solid goaltender. Especially on a defense like Colorado, maybe he can be better. And this is no disrespect to the Rangers defense, but I think people can agree that most people can agree. I know there's people out there that won't. Most people can agree that Colorado's defense is better than New York's. And I think 100% that is going to play a role, and if Georgiev is good or not. And even then, I think Paolo Francouz could be a starting goaltender. I've said it before. I absolutely think he could be a starting goaltender this coming season. That's just what I think. But yeah, overall, those are my division predictions for the Central Division. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. For us pros, I really do appreciate me. So subscribe down below if you are new. And anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video where we will do our Metropolitan Division predictions. Adios.